Well, good morning everyone. Super cold morning here in Florida. This is Gus, Achim, Juan, and Jorge. We're all doing a double traverse today. Doing Orange Grove, which is kind of over here all the way to Challenge Sink and then back. So it's 2 cave dives, 1,800 feet or about 2,000 if you count the space between the open water and the cave line. So 2,000 feet each way. Not bad. Gonna be a lot of swimming. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. But looking forward to it. The rebreather is awesome, so it will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jorge representing with the hat. Dive Talk GO hat. That's pretty cool. Orange on top of that. That's pretty good. So yeah, we'll be diving the Dive Talk GO today. Let me show you what it looks like. You know, it's interesting. I posted this comment, this video out there on Facebook that people are saying that, oh, the Dive Talk GO, it's open water only. You cannot go in caves with it. The rebreather doesn't know what you're doing. The rebreather just knows that you're underwater. It doesn't matter if you're in a cave or a wreck or whatever. So here we go. That's Achim's Dive Talk GO. And this is Juan's. And mine, it's in the water or by the water already. Check it out. That's Jorge. Orange and awesome. And I'll walk you to the water just so you can see how beautiful it is here at Orange Grove, which, by the way, this whole park, this whole area got kind of devastated by some of the last storms that came through here, tornadoes and whatnot. And the volunteers here did a great job kind of getting this to a place where we can dive again. It took many weeks, a lot of hard work, and super thankful for them. You can see like trees got ripped apart. I don't know if you can see that tree over there, huge tree. Seems like it fell inside of Sistine, which is another sinkhole here at Peacock Springs. Look at that thing. Whoa, so many trees that are busted. Look at that. So over there, see if I can walk you to it so you can have an idea, is another entry to this cave system. It's called Sistine. It's right over there behind all those trees. And that's actually beautiful from underwater. I've only seen it from underwater. Obviously, if you want to get in through it, you would have to trek through all of that, and nobody wants to do that. What we do is we enter through Orange Grove, which is this right here. We're just getting ready to go in. Beautiful.
So we're only coming up at Peacock. I'm sorry. Challenge Olsen.
And here's my GO.
All good.
Ready to go?
The double.
Awesome. Looks like those guys are doing a Grand Traverse today. That's awesome. Show you from up here how awesome this looks. Crystal clear, beautiful water. Same temperature all year round. 72 degrees Fahrenheit, which is great because in days like today where it's freezing, that water is gonna feel like a hot tub. It's gonna be awesome. Last night we did a dive at Ginny Springs, also on the go, 2-hour long DPV cave dive. Believe it or not, you know, for everyone saying you can't cave dive or do technical rebreather dives. Well, I would think a 2-hour cave DPV dive is technical enough. What do you think? All right, so I figure I'd bring you in so we can do a reaction on some of the footage. By the way, I don't know what happened to our underwater camera. By the way, this is the highly technical camera.
It works great usually.
The first day, it recorded great. I just mentioned in the video we dove at Ginny. This is at the Ginny Ballroom. And the guys were out there, and I wanted to get... I always like this view from right inside the cavern. It looks like a window. It's beautiful. So they were out there, like Achim is out there. First time in like open water in the GO. and he already looks better than me and all of us. It's
Perfect.
unbelievable.
Look at that. He shook
Yeah.
it around a little, perfectly neutral.
He's just like getting his bearing, whatever. Juan is right next to me. Juan is unbelievable. It's like
Nice.
I think he's like an android. I don't
Nice.
think he's human
Wow.
because he's just perfect in the water. So Juan is right there. First time in open water. We've been doing like pool dives or whatever. I highly recommend, by the way, if you're an instructor, to have 2 world-class divers as students. It really helps.
makes the class flow nicely.
Oh my God.
That's
I'm
great.
like, this was a home run for me as an
That's
instructor.
really nice.
Look at it. It's unbelievable. It's like I had to do nothing. It was like,
perfect. That's beautiful.
yeah. But no, Akim is certified in like 12 different units or something. And he's
Well, but now he has a favorite.
No,
Hack him. Hack him.
yes.
Wink, wink.
The check's in the mail. So yeah, so they're just out there, which is, as you know, with the rebreather, if you're in shallow water, it's harder to dive in shallow water.
Always.
If you're like 100 feet down, it's like it
You
dives
don't do
itself. It's amazing. But these guys, even in shallow water, they look amazing. So I don't have I recorded a lot of content, but I can use a lot of it because it looks terrible. And I know people are, perhaps if they tune in, they're like, oh, is that Jonathan Burt? No, it's us. It would be hard for them to.
User error. I mean, I'm thinking, which is fine.
Yeah, because
You saw one of my recordings once, which was the bottom of the rock scraping with my camera. That was a pretty
juggle,
one,
yeah.
wasn't it? Nice.
That was hilarious. But no, so these guys are out here doing great.
Now, overall, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Just start with, what did they think of the go? And I know it's coming from you, so that could, how do I put this? Look, be honest. What did they think?
I am being honest, and I won them, I'm sure, in his channel, Inner Space Explorers, by the way. Link below in the description. Go check it out and subscribe. He is, one of the things people appreciate about his channel is his honesty. He's an honest guy. And I told him, I compare him to like Ed Sorensen of Europe. He's like, during training, during like telling you feedback, he will not just to like make you happy, like keep it. I'm not going to say anything negative. No. He will tell you 100% honesty, with 100% honesty what he's thinking. You can see he's diving doubles. This is one of those things where we were like, whatever setup you normally dive, I want you to strap the go on. And he's like, well, I normally dive doubles. Great. Let's set up doubles. We got him at Amigos. Both of them are diving doubles.
Okay.
And I was diving side mount.
All right, perfect. Shows how versatile it is.
Yeah, it just straps on anything. They loved it. They absolutely loved the go. They will be instructors on the go as soon as they get their hours done, and they're going to be instructors in Europe and Asia, which I'm very excited about. So
Nice.
I mean, he looks awesome. He's diving LP85s.
No problem hooking it up. Was it like easy for them? Clipped right on their BC.
It was perfect.
No major adjustments.
No.
Just clip.
No, we added the bungees on the side,
Yeah.
to clip, and that was it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at
So here he is.
nice and simple. You can't even really see it there.
Yeah. It's
So now, did you go? This is still the cavern. Is this going to go into the cave with it?
Yes, so we ended up going cave diving. This was the next day. The next day we did the traverse at Peacock. And I know, this is not Jonathan Burt, it's me.
I would have mistaken this as Jonathan.
So we
That's really impressive.
we did the traverse from Orange Grove to Challenge and then back.
Okay.
So this is me getting catfish inside the cave. Can't really see much.
And then the
It looks
blurry
terrible.
part is just
And
random.
I know that people will be like, oh, they didn't want to show the go in the there's like a conspiracy theory.
What?
They are adding this fuzzy vision.
Ah.
So it's not really the go. They were diving another unit. They just put the go skin on it.
You know that somebody's going to actually say that?
Yeah.
That's how lunacy
Oh, look,
is out there.
I film a line repair for people that are like, what happens if you break the line? You repair it. So that was a piece of the main line.
Which knot did they use? The knot? The only one
The
that...
only one that we know. Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't the double ender wraparound?
Here goes the main line. This is I don't know if you remember this patch. I really like it. It's like it looks like an S. Like you're going. It looks like a canyon. It's pretty narrow, And I was a little concerned about those guys because they were in doubles. So I'm like, they're in doubles and the go. So they look huge. Like, you know, they have stuff in their chest and the back. And no, it was actually easier for them than me because I have stuff on the sides.
True.
They're big this way.
That's right.
And that restriction is a canyon. It goes like this. It's really tall, but it's narrow sideways.
Makes sense.
So sometimes in there, I have to go a little sideways.
And obviously from the clear video, you can tell exactly where they're
crystal
diving.
clear.
That's really impressive.
No, I added some chunks of the video, even though it looks terrible, because I think there are some things we can explain for people that are still watching. We can explain about the Go. The Dive Talk Go, of course, is a rebreather. It was created with recreational dives in mind, which are 99.99% of dives. But at the end of the day, it's a fully closed rebreather. It works in caves, as you can see right here. We're inside a cave. 4 of us, Jorge, Juan, Achim, and me, all diving the Go. Well, no problem.
I have to comment because even to use the word like explaining it works in caves, it's confusing. It's a rebreather.
Yeah.
If it fails, what has to work is that you have enough bailout gas.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what rebreather you use. I could use a rebreather that has a 1 minute it works. Do I have enough gas to get out? Or it works for 2 hours. Do I have enough gas to get out? So just make sure whoever's making comments, you violated. What did we violate? Exactly?
You guys said this was recreational only.
They didn't exceed the time frame and the penetration into the cave more than the bailout gas that they had.
Right.
No matter what rebreather you're on.
What I'm saying is that the mission or the profile that companies leverage to create gear doesn't mean that gear won't work anywhere else. Like, there's lights that are great for cave diving. Does that mean you cannot use them in an open water or in a wreck? Or no, they work everywhere. Regulators that are that's a giant catfish deep inside the cave. There are regulators that are made for cold water. Like, they created them because they wanted a great regulator for cold water. Does that mean it won't work in the Bahamas where it's warm? Of course it will work. That's the same for the Go. It was created for recreational dives in mind, like a really long 2-hour drift diving Cozumel type of dives. This is equidistance point of the cave.
And it shows you 900 feet.
Yeah, 900 feet either way. So the Go was created for those, or with those dives in mind, but it doesn't mean that it won't work in a cave.
No, it has a 2.5 hour scrubber life. That's what you would need to know. And if after that, you have to have enough bailout gas to get out. I mean, it's I don't understand anything other than it would be. I can't wait to dive in a cave.
Oh,
now,
it's awesome. By the way, we did a 2-hour DPV cave dive at Ginny with the Go, with the DPVs.
Nice.
And it was epic.
And well, I was going to ask you, like, after you're in the water, you're underwater and whatnot, and you were inside Mount Tangs, could you really even feel any different than the normal rebreather that you used, or did it go away?
It felt just like a Sidewinder or whatever. It just felt like a rebreather. And it has a great work of breathing, so it was great. But here's a funny moment. I tell these guys, I'm like, look, we're going to do 2 dives. One will be Orange Grove to challenge, and the other one will be on the way back. Let's aim for an hour each. Again, we have 2.5 hours plus all the bailout, so we have plenty of, room, time-wise.
And probably 100% oxygen at 20 feet.
Yes. So we are chilling. You can see right here. This is right at the exit. We made it all the way to Challenge Sink. Now, I left this clip right here because of the bubbles, because I figured people watching will be like, why, if this is a rebreather, there's so many bubbles? So go ahead. You just
look, when you're on a rebreather and he's ascending, that gas in the counter lungs and in your face
look at all those bubbles.
Is expanding. You've got to get the gas out, right? Imagine your counter lungs. Now you're coming up. You got to blow it out.
Yeah.
So the loop volume is getting bigger.
Let's pause right here.
And by the way, let me just finish. And by the way,
please.
We teach this in the class, right? Loop volume, minimum loop volume is what it takes to breathe in and out comfortably.
Yep.
For you. It's different for you than it is for me. But when you're coming up, that loop volume is going to expand like all gases expand. What do you do with it? You can't just keep having it expand, so you just blow it out. So that's what they're doing on the way up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Another fun fact. So yes, thank you. That's why I left this piece. Even though it doesn't look great, you can see all the bubbles. It's not that the rebreathers are failing or anything. It's just that we're going up. If you notice in the clip, you see challenge, which is this sinkhole, and it looks like a window and like this simmering light coming through. So we're approaching it. Going to challenge is really like going straight up. Like you're just going straight up to the hole. So every gas is expanding. So you have to let all this gas out. Not just from your mouth and the rebreather and the minimal loop volume that you mentioned, but also your dry suit is expanding, your BCD is expanding. So you're literally venting from
everything's coming out. And by the way, his ascent, notice Akim.
Yeah, Akim.
His ascent was, I'm not going to go vertical. He's just coming up like this, like an elevator, and just letting out gas on the way up. And I love being in a dry suit when you do that, because you can kind of move the bubble in the dry suit also to just get you inch up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when you want to let a little out of the dry suit, it's just that little movement, just this. And that gas comes right out of that vent. It's perfect.
It is perfect. Fun fact about this, the previous day or the days before that when we were training, Akim was really concerned about the gas capacity on the Go. And I understand where he's coming from, because the Go is a smaller unit. It's designed to be portable. It's 10 pounds when it's empty, 22 pounds when it's fully loaded with tank and everything. He was like, well, what's the capacity in the counter lungs? I said 1.75 liters on each counter lung is 3.5 liters. And he's like, that's just not going to work. Before he dove it. It's like, it's not going to work. And I'm like, well, why? It's like, because my lung capacity was measured at 8.7 liters. So 3.5 to 8.7, I'm not going to have enough air. I'm going to feel like I'm not going to be able to breathe. And I'm like, look, I was a competitive swimmer too. I don't know what my capacity is. It's never been measured. Probably not as big as his. But let's just say 7 or something. Or 6. 3.5 to 6. There's still a big gap. Okay? And I don't have any issues. And I've also haven't heard of anyone that has an issue with a counter lung capacity. Now, we are working on a larger counter lung. So I said, look, try to dive him like this. We have larger, like literally already we're waiting for the carrier to bring him and deliver them. If you can do it, I will personally give you the first pair of large counter lungs. So he got in the pool and he was like, I have 0 issues with it. Yep. Even at 8.7 liters. Because that's just the counter lungs, but the canister holds air, the loop holds air, like the whole unit is holding air, not just the counter lungs. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Exactly. I was going to say that. And some people have decided to not use the loops, the smaller loops that we sell the Go with, but they put like their Spirit loops on a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And that made them feel like they have way more air capacity, if you even have that issue. But by the time you add up all that volume of gas and the gas inside, a little bit more in the scrubber that isn't all the way out of the counter lungs, you have a lot more than just the counter lung measurement.
For sure. All right, let's keep it going here.
And by the way, one other thing. Who takes on a rebreather? This is probably how I would have answered him. Who goes like this?
Isn't that how you're supposed to? You're still going?
I'm now full of my first breath. Now I'm going to exhale.
Well, you're still going, yeah. I thought that's how. No? All right. So it's just normal breathing.
So there's no way, and really, this is how I teach my students. Nobody is filling up their lungs to their capacity when diving on a rebreather. And that I've heard this before. That's why I would have said this to him. And I, by the way, he's 10,000 times smarter than me. Yeah. But right away I would have been like, okay, well,
you're breathing wrong.
Well, let me see you take a breath of how you're going to dive this. And he would have had to go.
All right. Let's not do it. Okay.
I love him. I'm so honored that he's with us. But anybody out there, hold on, I'm not done with my first breath, because that's what it would have taken.
Yeah,
no, you're never using your full lung capacity.
By the way,
almost never.
We sometimes say that people are better than us or smarter than us or whatever, without really thinking about it. But with Agam, like every time I talk to him, he would just spill out some other fact about his life that I'll be like,
You're way
mind
better.
blown. Yeah, like I was like,
You're way better.
So he was like one of the original people at GUE, which is a highly respected technical, DIR organization, or how do you call this? Dive agency, if you will. Super high standard. So he was one of their maybe not the founding members, but very early on. Like he learned from JJ, who was the owner and founder of GUE, that was his instructor. So he was very, 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 very early on from there. But I was talking about this, like, Agam, so how do you end up becoming a cave diver? Because he was living in like Key Largo or something. He was a Key Largo diver. And he's like, oh, well, I went to cave country and I asked him, I want to become a cave diver, so who should I talk to? So he said, I just go to Genie Springs or whatever. I don't remember now. There's a guy there on a red pickup truck. Just talk to him. He can teach you whatever. It's like, so I did. I found him and he was there and he trained me. And I was like, who was that? Sheck Exley. That was my cave diving instructor.
Probably decent.
Like,
guy in
what?
the red truck. Amazing.
Huh?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way,
So-
for those of you who are now going to slaughter me for maybe telling Malcolm that nobody actually uses up their whole lung capacity on each and every breath on a rebreather, you don't have to slaughter me.
I think he would agree.
I already messaged
would
him
agree.
of how unbelievably honored I am to have him in us.
Yeah.
You're going to be teaching with our stuff, but I'm beyond honored. But like him,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say something that we're all human. He may have made a thought quickly that made no sense, which he probably would say, oh yeah, no, yes.
I do feel
absolutely.
bad for a complete train wreck of a career that he's having now, because he went from JJ to Sheck Exley to me as an instructor. It's like,
I'm sure you did great.
That trajectory of like complete
I
legends.
know you did great.
And then
You're amazing.
Crash and burn.
You're an amazing. I guarantee you were amazing.
No, it was fine.
They were just great divers, so it does make it way easier.
Anyone
to
could have
cross
taught that.
over.
Come on.
Yeah,
It
they're
was
world
the
class.
Two world class people. It was no brainer. All right. So let's see. So I didn't record much. I will say that this is just back at Orange Grove. We're doing like our emergency or safety stop, because we didn't even have a deco stop. But they're just there playing around. By the way, they're just suspended, not moving at a safety stop.
Perfect.
I love the fact that me and Jorge, we also are on a safety stop, but we're like, dude, let's just go explore. So we started swimming, and they're just there, like planet, not moving,
Nice.
looking like robots. I will say that when we got to challenge, there's a lot of like debris. Like we normally like surface and talk or whatever. If you watch our video with Jonathan Berg when we did our traverse, you can see us surfacing a challenge. There's Jorge, but not this time. Like I surfaced and there was maybe space for like one of it. We were all like smushed. It wasn't comfortable. So I hope that that gets cleaned up. Maybe
Now-
we need to go.
Yes. Now I have to add, in the spirit of those of you who know who I am,
Yeah.
they are world class, dive all the time, divers and dive instructors.
Unbelievable.
You're not expected. You don't in our class. On your safety stops. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, you failed because you moved. So I'm different. Like, yes, you need to be able to maintain that neutral buoyancy, but it's going to take some time to get to that level of stillness on a rebreather, right? So it's okay. It takes practice.
For sure. Yeah, no, these guys they were amazing. They were really, really great students to work with, and I mean, I would be honored to take their class. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're just amazing. Now, I will say, and this, I didn't tell you this, on the last day, we were kind of debating where to go. Like, they were already certified. They had already worked with Doug to become instructors, in the future and all this stuff. And we were like, well, what do we do next?
And they did all the online academics. There were no
Yeah.
shortcuts. They
No, no.
went through our whole Dive Talk
Totally.
Academy online,
Yeah,
did the
full class.
exams and everything.
Full class, full crossover, full everything. So when we were staying in Cave Country, which is in Gainesville, Florida, and we had to drive to go see Doug. It's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, or whatever. So on the way there, it's when I got to hear, like, Sheck actually was his cave diving instructor, all this stuff, right? And then on the way back, we're like, okay, what do we do tomorrow? We have an extra day. Like, what are we doing? And we started talking to him, and I mentioned to him that I've had this idea for a while, which is I never received like formal DIR training, like technical training or whatever. Like, yes, I had great instructors like you and Doug and Ed, and obviously they taught me, Brian Kaycock. I learned by just putting the time in the water and trying to look like them. Like, I get it. I'm never going to look like Ed, but I try like to mimic, and like it's good to have someone to try to imitate.
Definitely.
And you'll get better and put the time in. There's no shortcuts. You have to put the time in.
Yes.
So I told him, I said, look, I've had this idea to sign up for a GUE Fundies class, GUE Fundamentals class, and see where I stack up. Like, I wonder, because I've never received proper training. Like, nobody sat with me and let me show you frog kicking. I just like frog kick and went through cramps. You've seen me, right? When I was coming up, having cramps every dive, like just by doing, that's how I learned. So when you do GUE fundamentals, they have multiple levels in which you can pass. It's like, depending on your level of proficiency, okay, you can fail the class. Like, you can take the class and fail. Like, you don't even have the skills to pass.
Which
you can get something called a provisional, I believe, which is kind of new, which is like you didn't pass, but you also didn't fail. Like, come back and do like a little bit more sessions, and then you can pass. Then you can get a recreational pass, they call, in which you do the skills, but you didn't do it at like a GUE level. Like, you didn't do it at like a technical cave diver level. Like, if you're doing a skill but you're not in perfect trim, or your buoyancy's going up and down a little bit, which is common with open circuit, you're going up, and if you don't look like a robot, like perfect, then you get a recreational pass, and that will then allow you to take more recreational courses and all that stuff. So I'm probably there. I feel like I can pass, but not at a technical pass. I feel like I can do a recreational. And then you have a technical pass, which is the hardest one to get. And that's the one where you're doing it in a technical configuration, like doubles or something. And you're doing, you have to have like a stage. You have to have an extra tank on you that you can swap. You have to do, you have to be in doubles. So anyway, it's a technical diver. It's a lot more complicated. And all your skills have to be like, I think they said less than 20 degrees. Like, you have to be perfectly still, flat. And you can't be going up and down. I think they said within 3 feet. So, like, yeah, you can breathe up and down, but you can't, like, go up and down big time. So I tell him, I'm like, I wonder if I take that class. Just show up as a GUE, like an undercover. Like, I just want to take the class and see if I pass. And if I pass, do I get recreational pass or technical pass? And he's like, well, ISC does that. Inner Space Explorers, his agency. We do that. It's just we don't call it fundamentals. We call it BOE. It's a basics of exploration class. But it's the same stuff. You get a recreational pass or a technical pass, or you fail, and you have to do all the same skills, maybe a couple more. So it's not identical to GUE, but it's the same standards. Actually, it's funny because when I talk to Akim, he makes GUE sound soft. Like, GUE went soft. Like, his levels are insane to pass. And like I said, he's like Ed. Like, no shortcuts. He will give it to you. So he says, why don't you take the BOE class? And I'm like, well, I wasn't planning on it, but why not? Whatever is hard, I'm like, let's just do it. If it's hard, I'm going to learn, right? So, have you ever dived doubles? I'm like, I've never even picked up doubles. Like, I don't even know how they work. Like, we would have to start from scratch. And they're like, great, we love that. So, we went and got doubles. They taught me how they work, all the emergency procedures. So, we spent a bunch of time out of the water. And then we went in the water. And I had to do all the skills, including the rescue, including everything. Akim records. He does like Ed, where he records you, and then we do the debriefing with the video. Akim recorded with his phone, but there was one time where his phone wasn't working or something, and I handed him my camera to record. So that's the only video I have. It's just one skill that I have. So I filmed it to show you what it looks. So in this video, it's me, unedited. It's just me attempting the bottle switch. So in this case, I had a 100% oxygen, so we're shallower than 20 feet. We're about 5 meters, so like 15 feet. And I am switching from my doubles to my stage, to my...
It's hard.
Oh, the bottle.
Hard.
And again, the objective is to do it flat and without moving up and down.
Okay. I'm sure. I'm going to say you nailed it.
Well,
That's what I think.
first time diving doubles, so to get your expectations
Well, just
a
saying,
little bit
it's
low.
not
But
easy.
anyway, so this is me. So I'm in doubles. And first, I'm like, look at my bottle. Is it okay? As you know, we show our body. Is it okay? Of course, I knew it was okay. So I'm deploying and checking that, yep, this regulator is in fact attached to my tank. I check if it's full and open it.
Looking good. I mean, you're moving your fins, but I assume that's okay.
Fun fact that you say I'm moving my fins. So the doubles, again, first time I'm diving it, it puts a lot of weight behind your head. You know, the manifold and
Yeah,
the double,
looks like
the double regulators and all of that. So it really made my head go down a lot. So all I'm doing right now is
Trying to get your trim.
I am just kicking to stay in trim.
Okay.
If I stop kicking, I go down like this. And I show Akim, I'm like, look, this is, I would need my own setup and to set it up properly, because as soon as I stop kicking, I become a human buoy. Like my head goes down.
Okay. Well, that's
So-
good that you explained that.
Yeah. So I'm showing him, go behind my head. So now I have to switch regulators. Switch
Nice.
without changing buoyancy. So I'm staying in the same place.
Beautiful.
And then you just clip it on your D-ring, which, by the way, there's a whole process of just how to use a bolt snap. That's a skill, like how to snap and unsnap your bolt snap properly. They've thought of everything. So there you go. So that was the switch, and then you have to switch back. Now I'm switching back. I signal to him. So unclip your primary regulator, which is your long hose, without looking at it.
Nice.
Test it. It's working. Switch to it. And now you have to stow everything back. So everything has to go back to the way it used to be. And I struggle a little bit with this skill, stowing everything back. So, you have to pass it through like those rubber bands and stuff that maintain
Yes.
everything or whatever. So I do this for a little bit. But again, as long as you're in trim and same depth, plus or minus 1.5 feet, so you have a little margin for error, you're doing it. And the fish just came to photobomb me. So all the
Looks
fish are
great.
just
You did
right
great.
in front of, yeah. So then I close it, still leaving it pressurized, but we close the bottle, like every
Nice.
stage bottle where you leave it pressurized but not open. And then, make sure all the hoses are look good. And then the next step is to pass that to your buddy, and then they do it. So like if we were taking the class together, I would hand this to you, and again, without changing my buoyancy. If I pass it and I skyrocket to the surface, you failed, right? So how do you adjust for all of that? I'm still setting up the hose properly. All right, now I spin it, unclip it, without changing buoyancy, pass it to your buddy. There you go. Okay. Then I take the camera because he wants to show me. It's like, watch. So the way he clips this thing, it's like robotic. It's like, look, you take it, clip it, then take it, and clip it back in. That's it. It's like, no a whole lot of like, playing around with it. It's just
That's
like,
awesome.
clip, done. There's the thing. By the way, he changed your whole tank. Your oxygen tank. He's like, I can't. Like, he didn't like the way it was set up, so he changed it to like the ISC way, the inner space explorers way.
Not job I'm just kidding. maybe it's great.
Yeah. There you go. You clip it, unclip it.
And I like it. He's got valve out, so that's good.
Yeah. And what he was telling me is like, look, if you deploy it, right, and you're gonna put it back, you can unclip it from your waist.
Just to make it easier.
Yeah, and now you can look at the whole tank, look what you're doing,
Way better.
feed the hose,
Easy.
and clip it back. That's what he's doing. So he's showing me like this is what you should have done. instead of me who never unclipped it and tried to
No,
stop
but
it.
that's great.
But
Great
anyway,
tips.
it was still a pass, for the skill because I still did it. He's just showing me how to make it easier. And now, swing it, flip, and you're done. That's it. So that was that. So anyway, ultimately we did all the skills and all of that, and I ended up getting the technical pass. So that was cool.
Nice.
So I earned the BOE technical pass
That's awesome.
From Interspace Explorers, which is
Congrats.
cool. So that means that hopefully it means that under GUE I would have also earned the technical pass if
Dude,
I
that's
did
great.
GUE fundies. So that was cool. I will say, awesome class, by the way. Really loved it. And we talked about
And the whole class is one day? You did the whole thing in one day?
We did it in one day. It's typically more than a day because again, you're working with people who are not CCR cave divers and all of that. But it was a full day. Like we were there like 8 a.m. when Blue Grotto opened, and we were there till I think I ended up leaving around 6 or something. It was a whole day, very very intense, but really really loved it. I will say that we are talking about bringing the BOE class, their class, into Dive Talk Academy and coming up with our own like Dive Talk DIR branch of learning and training.
Yes.
And I thought it would be cool. We call it Fundamentals.
Now, yes.
Dive Talk Fundamentals. So if you get your car, you'll be DTF certified, which is pretty cool.
Now, I always ask this question. So
Yeah.
I want to know, and I think there's a lot of reasons why. I actually believe there's a lot of safety reasons why. But why are they focused on this? Why are they saying you need to be able to control that, pass that, not lose buoyancy? Like, okay, but, what if you would have gone up 3 feet? Why is that a big deal? And that, I have rationale for that, but why do you think, in your mind, other than it's a cool skill to know how to do, why is it important?
Well, I mean, I think that the basis of the dives that we were doing are all based in a team mentality. And at the very minimum, you're in a buddy pair, and that's why we're passing bottles. Now, imagine if one buddy is trying to pass a bottle, the other buddy's like all over the place, up and down, and this one is up and down. For safety reasons, it's important that you're both looking at each other, same level. I do this, you do that, and we all are set up in the same way. Yeah. So it's a safety reason.
Even coming down, even like when I kind of did a class like this with Patrick Widman.
Yeah.
And in a rebreather, with no fins, by the way. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Even coming down, you should come down together because you're that's when things change. That's when volumes of gases, that's when they say that any issues that may happen in the first 10 minutes. And you're checking each other and act like a buddy team. Instead of this mentality, I could do everything by myself and I don't need you. This is actually promoting taking care of each other as a buddy team. And that is what I like the why behind. At least for the Dive Talk one, I can tell you I'll be promoting you're helping each other. You're taking care of each other by being in control together. Yeah. So with that spirit behind the class, I think these skills are amazing.
And again, I've never taken a GUE class, so whatever I said about GUE is just hearsay. I don't know firsthand of it, but I felt one of the things you hear from people that have taken GUE classes and all of that is that it feels like they have their way of doing things and you don't veer from it. You're like, you do it the way they do it, and it is what it is. Whereas I felt that Akim and Juan were way more open-minded. Again, this is all hearsay about GUE. I don't know. Maybe they are open-minded. One good example is SMB or DSMB deployment. So DSMB, you have to be able to launch it. Same thing, flat, launch it, no change, on buoyancy, all that stuff. Akim doesn't like my DSMB, the one that you inflate with a regulator. He's like, there's just too much going on. You can get entangled, whatever. I'm like, Akim, I've been launching this thing for years, and I've never had an issue. But if you think that I need to change it, I'm open to it. I'm always open to changing based on facts. And he said, well, before I recommend that you change it, let me show you fire. Let's see what happens with an DSMB that I don't like. and see if it's a disaster or not. And he said, one of the reasons why I liked the mouth inflation one is because if you take a big breath and you blow it into the bag, now you're transferring the air from your lungs to the bag, so your buoyancy doesn't change.
That's true.
So how do you do that?
And it is easier
Yeah.
to control that.
Right. So he's like, how do you do that when you're using a regulator to inflate it? And I'm like,
Let it go.
blow out. I have the regulator in my mouth, but I blow out as I'm inflating it. It's still the same principle. And he's like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see it. And I went and did it with my SMB, and I passed. It was a pass on the skill. Like I did it, just like you saw this other one. Shoot it up, no problem. And then he was like, okay, you proved me wrong. You can keep using that one. So he was like, no problem. So he was way more open-minded. I think we had a conversation about, there was something else that we talked about. I don't remember what it was. But I explained to him, kind of my vision of that. It was about cave diving. And he was like, okay, that makes sense.
But
yeah.
what if, this is what I would ask him, and again,
Yeah.
this is how it's going to be for the Dive Talk class.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own reasons. We've all been diving for a gazillion years.
Right.
I'm not diving doubles. Back mount doubles are never
Right.
going to be on my back. Never. Because I have no use for it.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be in this configuration.
No, you can do a single tank too.
Okay.
I just wanted to do it extra
Okay, you
hard
could do a
because
single
I'm an
tank.
idiot.
What if you wanted to do this in side mount configuration?
I don't know if you can do it in Simon. I assume you could.
And those would be the whys that I would want to know. Because
Yeah.
to me, where I struggle hearing these agencies say, you got to take this, whatever you want to call it, fundies or whatever,
Yeah.
in our gear, in our configuration, in the way we are setting up our gear,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Well,
Because I don't want to dive in your
I agree with you.
configuration.
I agree with you.
I want
And
to
I think-
I want to dive in my buddy's configuration.
Yeah.
I don't dive with you guys. I dive with Gus. You know what
Yeah.
we dive? We dive in a cave, the Sidewinder with side mount gear, or now the Go.
yeah.
That I would want to see control
And
with.
I think
Otherwise
that's,
it's meaningless.
that's kind of the control that we would have as a DTF class.
Okay.
If it's a Dive
That makes
Talk
sense.
fundamentals class, because there's no reason why you couldn't take this with a Go, for example. You need to
Right,
be able to
exactly.
rescue people if you're wearing your Go. You need to be able to shoot at the
Yes.
SMB if you're wearing your Go. You need to be able to
Exactly.
switch tanks. Like, it's the same stuff.
Exactly.
Now, what he said is, if you can master these skills, meaning to the point where your trim and buoyancy are not something that takes you a whole lot of effort, right? If this is something that is an autopilot, then you can do the Go training, for example, and now all these basic skills like shooting at DSMB, whatever, reclading the mask, recovering, doing all these things are so second nature that the Go class will be so much easier. So in his eyes is you do the DTF class, then you do the Go training. But I feel that if you're already Go certified, you could take the fundamentals class and get still a bunch of value from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just, again, for me, I love these skills. And when I did this 3-day session with Patrick Widman of every day, all day,
Transformative.
you can't even move your fins with that guy.
It's
you
amazing.
fail if you move your fins. Okay? That with Patrick. You fail.
That's-
You moved your fin, I'm out. Do it again.
Damn.
Yeah, it was
I would've
brutal. It
failed.
was so hard.
100%.
But his point was, this is the gear we're in.
Yeah.
This is how we have to take care of each other. It's not about some agency thinks that this is the gear you should have to. But I'm not going to wear that gear,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So that would be my one very
I get
important
it.
attribute adding to that.
I will finish this by saying again, congratulations to Juan and Akin for getting certified, and thank you for allowing me to take the BOE
Awesome.
class and try it on a technical configuration with the doubles and all that stuff. So that was great to be able to learn from him. Great pleasure.
I think we should do it again, all of us, including them, in the Go, in our configuration.
That would be great.
That
Before
would
I
be valuable.
forget, I wanted to mention that you and me, depending on when you're watching this, will be at Boot Show in Germany.
Yeah,
We've been invited
amazing.
to go to Boot Show and talk about the Go and show it and talk about it. And Akin will be there as the Go instructor in Europe
Beautiful.
and also running our service center in Europe. So I'm looking forward to it. It's in Dusseldorf, January. What are the dates? Hold on. Let me pull it because I don't want to mess up. If people are watching this and you're in Europe and you want to come meet us, come to Dusseldorf.
Or
We're
you
gonna
want
be
to
there,
meet somebody
hanging
great
out.
like him. I mean,
It's a,
that'd be-
or if you want to meet Akim,
this would be really awesome. I can't wait to meet those guys. By the way, they sound awesome. And you know what else you told me is amazing about them? And I can tell they're like this. They're super humble.
Oh, they're great.
Right? They're not. Look
Absolutely.
at me. Look at I'm the greatest. Like that's
Absolutely.
really nice.
24th and 25th of January. It's a Friday and a Saturday. We'll be
Nice.
there in Dusseldorf all day. We have a talk. Right, we're gonna be speaking at Boot Show on the 25th.
Do we know what we're speaking about? Or
Saturday.
we just start rambling like usual?
We're gonna be talking about the Go, of course.
Okay.
At 12:50. 12:50
Perfect.
p.m. It's already been approved and secured, our spot there. So make sure you come. It's at the Dive Center in hole number 12. So again, depending on where you're watching this, if this is already in the future and you missed it, well, sorry about that. But also, there's a company that has a booth there, booth number 12831, that invited us to be there for the whole 2 days and bring the Go and everything. They're giving us booth space. So we now have a mini booth. We're crashing somebody's booth to show the Go.
Awesome.
So please come and stop by. I wanted to say the name of the company, but I feel like you are better.
Let me look at it.
Let-
I can do it.
Yeah. So it's that. It's the top
That'll
left.
be easy. Here, I'll give it a try.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you know I'm gifted with
Remember, it's
multiple
German,
languages.
so say
yeah,
it.
that
Of
I will.
course.
I'll do that whole thing. The top left.
Yeah. The top. The name is.
Wait, the top left of the first sentence, or
No. The top left, the logo. Yeah. Just the top in the blue.
the Tacharanet? That's perfect. It says Tacharan in the non-perfect Takarabala.
All right.
Sometimes you have to change the tone.
me-
I've noticed with that language.
Give me the
It's not
thing,
an
sir.
angry tone, but sometimes they want
I
to
thought
get
it was
their
like
point
Tag
across.
Heuer type of thing.
Tachanet.
Okay, that's right. They do talk like that.
Well, I mean,
So anyway,
that's endearing. I'm saying,
We'll
they
be there.
want you to know.
Boot show in
we'll be
Germany.
at
Come.
Tachanet.
Come and join us. The 24th and the 25th of January will be in Germany, which is going to be awesome.
The word below at the Osirashik
All right,
Takamasa number one.
Let's just end it there.
So, guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in. By the way, if you want lower quality, this is lower quality
Okay.
video from underwater in the same passages that we were diving. I'm going to leave the video right here when we did it with Jonathan Bird. It's not as good.
Well,
It's not as good. Lower your expectations.
is his going to be in focus? Because anybody can do that. Yours was blurred at the right moment, which was most of the moments.
Yeah, to not show the Go because
So
people
nobody
didn't think.
saw. And I liked when you did it right with the light. I was blinded looking at the screen just now. That was
That's right.
impressive.
That's a pro move. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.